If you really truly know the city, then that's how you know that you need to be a part of what the blueprint is of this city.
Welcome to the Talk Chamber, a production of the Greater Memphis Chamber. The Talk Chamber is the podcast for the latest on the Chamber, economic development, and all things Memphis. Today's episode features Neki Catron, the Corporate Global Community Engagement Manager at Sylvamo. Thank you so much for coming on, Neki.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're glad to have you. Just to kind of introduce yourself to everybody, could you give us a bit about yourself and how you ended up in Memphis / how you ended up at Sylvamo?
Absolutely. So I ended up in Memphis by way of being born here.
Wonderful.
I am a native Memphian. I love every part of being a native Memphian. I am true blue 901. So I've been here all my life. I left for a couple years, went to college, stayed in Chattanooga for a couple years after that. And then Memphis just kept calling me back home. So I was so excited to be back here and be a part of the fabric of this city and lead some of my talent and gifts and bring it back to the city. And that led me to be in what you would think of as a nonprofit world. I worked in nonprofit for a number of years, did a little bit of fundraising, and the corporate world started calling me to lead the way and develop, implement, identify what would be great for sort of a corporate philanthropy program. And so that's sort of what's led me here to be at Sylvamo, is working with the Sylvamo team, working with the Sylvamo organization in crafting and creating what you want to think of as a true strategic implementation of corporate philanthropy.
That's so exciting. And before we move on, you said something that I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
You said Memphis was calling you home.
Yeah.
What was it about Memphis that called you home?
I mean, what's not about Memphis? When you look at the culture, the music, the people, and I can easily say family, but it wasn't just about being back home with family. It was about being back in the fabric of this community. When you think about leading charges, Memphis is that. Memphis leads the charge in anything. When we talk about community, we talk about the community engagement part of a city. There is nothing but engagement when you think of Memphis. I mean, and sometimes you may see a few things on the news media, but if you really truly know the city, then that's how you know that you need to be a part of what the blueprint is of this city. And so that's what I mean when it's calling me home. The culture, the people. You don't meet anybody else like a true native Memphian. So that's what I want to come back to.
I say that on almost every episode, it feels like. I'm like, there's no people like Memphians. And
absolutely.
Memphis gets hype. We have a good time. We band together when it's necessary. We support each other. And even on social media, sometimes things will come across my feed and somebody, not a native Memphian, not a Memphian, starts, this is going on in Memphis, or I don't like Memphis. I visited and got bad service somewhere, or, didn't like what was happening. And then the Memphians are in the comments, well, you didn't really visit Memphis. You're not.
Right. You didn't experience the true nature of Memphis.
That's only one part of Memphis. And you definitely didn't stay long enough. It makes me smile, but it also makes me giggle because I'm like, this is Memphis right here coming together to defend the city.
We are the heart. We are the heart.
So let's talk about work.
Yeah.
What is Sylvamo? What do y'all do?
So Sylvamo, interestingly enough, people will ask that question, what is Sylvamo? Just kind of take you a little bit of language. So Sylva is forest and Amo is love. So the love of forest.
Wow.
We are the world's paper company, and we use one of the most renewable resources to educate, communicate, and entertain. So when you think of that, what is one of the world's most renewable resources? Paper. So we develop paper. We make paper. We have 7 mills across the globe. When you think about the globe, we are in the United States. We're also in Brazil, and we're in Europe. We have over 6,500 employees, and that's what we look to. We look to make sure that we create a space where you can educate, communicate, and entertain. And the best way you can do that is with the sheet of paper. Everybody uses a sheet of paper across the globe, right? And you may be familiar with some of our brands, which is Hammer Mill Paper. Everybody's seen Hammer Mill Paper, X and Opaque, and we have a few other brands that are across the world in Europe and also in Brazil.
That's awesome. How did Sylvamo come to be? How did y'all end up in Memphis?
Absolutely. So if you are familiar with corporations in the city of Memphis, International Paper, we spun off from International Paper, the paper division, and we spun off in October of 2021. And in 2021, we developed the organization you see before yourself is Sylvamo. And naturally, being everyone knows headquartered here is International Paper. And it was such a staple in the community that when Sylvamo started viewing where should we have headquarters, undoubtedly it needed to stay here, right here in the city of Memphis. And so it worked out. It worked out for headquarters to stay here in Memphis. And I'm so glad because it gave me the opportunity to be a part of a wonderful organization that does very, very great work across the globe.
And how long have you been with Sylvamo? Since the beginning, before then?
I would love to say since the beginning, but I came shortly after. I started in April of 2023. So not too long after I became a part of the Sylvamo family.
A newer company. I mean, obviously it has its roots with International Paper, but it's a newer company. It's a spinoff, and y'all are doing great things. Your
Absolutely.
name is out there. Even
Thank
if
you.
people don't necessarily know what y'all are doing, what y'all are selling, they see your name, they see your logo, people are aware.
Absolutely.
And you said Hammer Mill, and what was the other one, or two of your big ones?
Hammer Mill, Accent Opaque. A lot of people may not be familiar with Accent Opaque, but that's another brand of ours. And so there's just a ton of brands that we do white label boxes. So that's your typical just, generic box paper. But yeah, we're the world's paper company, and that's the tagline that we lean on, and I love it because when you go anywhere around the world, you'll see some paper. We also make envelopes, Post-it notes. If you use a Post-it note, that's our paper, and then we do other little specialized paper. So we have a quite a few opportunities to share with the world the work that we do.
That's awesome. I really you really do see paper everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here in our office,
Absolutely.
paper everywhere.
We are we're the proud paper provider in partnership with the Greater Memphis Chamber. So absolutely, if you see the paper, it's definitely Sylvamo's paper.
I mean, schools, kids
Books.
at home drawing, books.
Absolutely.
There's all sorts of uses for paper, all sorts of needs for paper. So it's really awesome that y'all are headquartered in here and doing that stuff. I mean, and I'm also very interested, which we'll get to in just a second, kind of y'all's mission and y'all's values, and just paper comes from trees. How are y'all helping
Absolutely.
the environment? How are y'all helping the earth?
Absolutely.
How are y'all helping the community? You said earlier that IP was really ingrained in the city, and I just said I see y'all everywhere. So y'all are ingrained in the city. So just to give you a direction of where we're going and what we're going to be talking about, I really want to focus on those few aspects, which leads me to my next question. You talked about your mission, and y'all said that the mission is to transform renewable resources into paper that people depend on for education, communication, and entertainment. How does Sylvamo do that?
In a number of ways. When you think about it, right? When you think about the power of paper, you think about books, education. I know a lot of people are kind of going to this digital world, but there's been study where you retain that information by reading it on a piece of paper. And then you talk about the level of work we do in sustainability. So globally, we partner with a number of organizations like the WWF, and we also work with the Nature Conservancy, and locally here, the Wolf River Conservancy. So we're huge on the environment. When you talk about our community focus areas are the environment, education, specifically childhood education, as well as critical community needs. And because we're a global organization, those needs look significantly different per our regions. So we really hone into what are those needs in those communities. We also work very closely with restoration in the forest. People may think, paper come from trees, but also you have to have a level of reforestation. And what does that look like? When we cut down a tree, we plant 10 more trees. That helps with the native land. So it's a level of reforestation. We always tell people the paper helps the environment. And that's what we will make sure that we do. And we make sure we do it in a very, very, very sustainable way. You stated the mission, you listen to the mission, and that's what we adhere to every day at Sylvamo. We want to make sure that our communities are growing, they're thriving, and you're receiving all that you need when you are within that community. So that's what I love about the job, is I get an opportunity to sit with our organization, look globally of what's needed in those communities, and how can we amplify, elevate, and be a part of that community, and where we work, live, and play.
It's giving back in multiple ways and
Absolutely.
different ways in the same areas. It's which I know is very, or I assume is probably very fulfilling for you and very exciting. I know I love to give back, especially to my community in Memphis and the places I call home. But what I love is that you said for every one tree that is chopped down, that is used for paper, y'all are planting 10 more.
We're planting 10 more.
So if y'all use 10 trees, that's now 100 trees.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
You are literally giving back tenfold.
Giving back tenfold.
Which, you hear people say, like, pass it forward tenfold.
Absolutely.
Literally tenfold, which I love. Now to the values, which your mission and your values go hand in hand. You say your values are always to do the right thing in the right ways for the right reasons.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that value. When I first started at Sylvamo, and we were, naturally, what's the first thing you do when you're learning a new organization? You have to know the mission. You have to know the value, because that is what the culture is, right? And so working at a company that is their value, I mean, you can't ask for a better thing. And it's doing the right thing even when no one's watching. It's easy to do the right thing when lights, camera, action, right? Or when someone is visibly watching the work that you're doing. But it's when no one's watching. And that's what I really love about this organization, is doing the right thing when no one's watching. It's just a part of who you are. And that's why I really love being a part of this organization. And community investment is very important. It is a part of the bylaws, the fabric, everything that we do at that organization. Yes, we make paper. Yes, we sell paper. But we also impart on what's very important to the areas, again, that I've always stated, where we work, live, and play. And that's how you do that. That's how you do the right thing for the right reasons, right? And so that's what is truly a part of the fabric at Sylvamo.
Do you have any stories where you feel like the company or your team or whoever really embodied that value? Anything that really just comes to mind where you get excited, or really, if you had to tell me one story and that was the only thing I'd remember from this conversation about y'all doing the right thing?
Yeah. Let me tell you, I'll tell this one story. Starting at the organization, and I started in April. And April is Volunteer Month. It's Earth Day is on April 22nd. We also consider it Earth Month. And also May, we do a big celebration for in education. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And so I started in April. So
what a month.
Where do you, put your feet to the fire coming in. And so this was truly an opportunity to see if this organization lives by its values, because these are the 2 months that I think is the most meaningful months for the organization, but it's by and large the busiest. And so I get there, and immediately I'm seeing all the work. I'm seeing the work that the company has in the 2 years, right, as the spinoff. So, and you're trying to figure out your identity. I used to tell people it's 100-plus-year-old company that's been around for 5 years now. And they're like, what does that mean? But when you really see a company that already kind of has its culture, created in a sense, but is creating a new level of culture and still trying to figure out, what's my identity outside of this organization that I've spun off from. And immediately as I walk in, I see a culture of family. I see people working together for the greater good. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. But the one thing that stood out is we were a part of this organization, this national organization called Reading's Fundamental. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And that's one of the signature events that we host here in Memphis. But we also host it in the other areas that we are located in the United States, which is Ticonderoga, New York, Eastover, and Sumter, South Carolina. So they're all over, right? They come here. They also travel to our other locations in the mills. But this was my first major event in this role. And so we went to Balmoral Ridgeway Elementary School. That's one of our adopted schools here in Memphis. And we go there, and I'm a little nervous because I've only been there for a month, but this is a signature event, and this is my time to shine. And as we're walking in, everyone's like, Neki, you're fine. It's fine. And I'm talking about the employees, talk about employee engagement and being a part of volunteerism and starting at the organization. Everybody's like, when is the next event? When is the next event? When is the next volunteer event? The organization and the team members are just so ingrained in community. They're always asking, when is our next event? So as I'm preparing, I'm thinking, am I going to have enough volunteers? And is everything going to go okay? I don't really know everybody yet. And then I get a notice, and it's the CEO is coming. And I'm like, oh, boy. Really?
Your heart sinks.
The heart sinks, right? Oh, now I really have to show up and show out. But it wasn't about me. It wasn't about the role. It was about the children, their experience, what they were going to have an opportunity to do. And as I walked into the school, I was really still trying to figure out what sign up looks like. How do you, electronically sign up to volunteer? But the organization showed up, and they showed out, and they came. We have these light purple shirts, and they had on their light purple shirts. And my supervisor, my manager, he's the chief sustainability officer, James McDonald. He was right there by my side, making sure that I had everything I needed to be successful. But again, it wasn't about me. It was about these little people, these little young students that were coming to engage in reading and education and literacy. And then the CEO walked in, and I was thinking, let's just have this major fanfare. Typically a organization, a CEO shows up, everybody's like, stop, the CEO's here. Let's introduce the CEO.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. He was like, just give me a role, give me a volunteer role. I just want to be a part of what's happening here, nothing special. And he went over to a table and was passing out books to students. And the kids were just running up to him. And when you talk about leadership, and it's just there not for photo op or to say, just I want to be there to volunteer, be a part of this great experience. And that was my first experience there. And I will say that has transitioned to be my continuous experience at Sylvamo. Is everyone just wants to do the right thing. They want to do the right thing for the community. And it's not about fanfare. It's not about photo ops. It's about helping and truly helping from the heart.
I love that. And I feel like we've already started to talk about this and really get into it. But but corporate social responsibility, that's a large part of what you do. And clearly it's so ingrained into who Sylvamo is. Yeah. I mean, your mission, your values, your first month on the job. Yeah. It's all kind of just goes back to being a responsible partner to the community. Mm-hmm. In what ways is the company living this out and living out corporate social responsibility? What kind of initiatives do y'all have?
Absolutely. One we just talked about is education. And when you think about education, and anything that could truly move the needle when you think of education is literacy. COVID really took a toll on literacy, and the literacy rates tanked. So one of our major initiatives is ensuring that young people, students, we can go all the way down as early childhood education, is that is one of the pivotal focal points for us when you talk about corporate social responsibility, is education, literacy. We partner with Slingshot, with the MemWorks program, and with also another partner with 10 Achieve. So it's a I guess a four-way fold of partnership, is all these organizations coming together to ensure that not only that students have everything they need to be successful in secondary education. What they have counselors, they have individuals that stand closely by them. That's here in Memphis that we're working on to ensure that the graduation rate doubles within a number of years when we talk about secondary education, when you talk about students moving the needle, when you get that additional education, that's life changing. That changes when you look at a livable income, right? When you start getting those certifications, you get those degrees, you get that special set skill. You change your life when you think of a livable income. But with that, literacy. You need literacy. You need to understand. You need to comprehend. So how can we help with that? There are a number of organizations that, right here is Literacy Mid-South, one of our other partners, Porter Lee. Reading is Fundamental is a national organization that we'll talk about. We also partner with UNICEF with this program called Skills for Girls. And in Brazil, they identify that there's a massive need in advancing the education for young women and girls in school because in those communities, some of those young ladies are sought after to just be in those environments that are very unhealthy. I don't want to go into deep details, but it's extremely unhealthy environments. And UNICEF, they have this program called Skills for Girls, is educating young girls and educating young ladies. So as they grow into being women, they have the ability and the skill set to be successful and be successful not only for themselves, but be successful for their families. And we also partner with a number of organizations. I love this one organization in Brazil, and it's called Conversation for Ladies. And it's teaching a second language, English as a second language, to women who are interested in being bilingual and learning English. We also partner with programs over, we're in Numala, over in Poland, and we have these partnerships that work with individuals that are in foster care systems or orphanages. We also partner with, we have a Global Day of Service, and that Global Day of Service is just that globally. We have very specific initiatives that are different, from planting trees to packing educational kits to packing these blanket kits that give you these small nuggets of knowledge and to orphanages, and also supporting. We have these hygiene kits that they pack in Brussels that give them to women that are in domestic shelters, safe shelters. And so it's just a number of ways that we look at what is needed in the community. How can we elevate that community through initiatives, community programming? But also we understand the one key thing that works is education. An educated individual can go very far, right? And so giving them that education, that awareness, and doing that through the power of paper.
The power of paper. Let's put a pin in education real quick.
Yeah.
Because I do really want to talk about that some more, but I also want to hear about environmental sustainability.
Yeah.
You plant the trees.
Yes.
But what else?
Yes. I love that. I love the role. I'm in corporate social responsibility role. And I would be very honest with you, Taylor. We have a sustainability manager. It's my peer. Love working with him. Now, if he was here, Dr. Nathan Elser, he will be able to give you all the great nuggets of knowledge with sustainability. But the thing that I've learned when you talk about reforestation, we have water goals. We want to make sure that we are very responsible with utilizing the water when we are making the paper, when we are utilizing the chemicals, the emissions levels. We make sure that we have what they call, we're being very responsible with our sustainable goals. So the things that we do very well is making sure that within the environment that we are putting back anything that we're taking out, right? And so we have all these great goals. We have these water goals. We have, again, these emission goals. But if we had Dr. Elsa here, which I'm gonna give him a shout out, he will be able to give you very, very strategic initiatives and goals. But we do work with, like I stated, the WWF, the conservations, and looking at how, and with the Wolf River Conservancy, and all the work that we do is very much implemented in sustaining the environment. And I'm very proud of that work that they are doing on the sustainability side.
I'm sure your colleague could tell me more about this, but I feel like I read somewhere that the way in which y'all take the fibers for the paper is in itself sustainable too, and one of the most sustainable ways to do that.
It is the most sustainable way. I mean, you can the ability to recycle paper is again the most renewable, one of the most renewable resources in the world. And so again, I'm still learning all that there is about sustainability and the work that we do around that in that space. But it is very phenomenal. It's very educational. I even challenge anyone who love to go see how a paper mill operates. I mean, it's a city within a city. You think of this small sheet of paper and what it takes just to make the small sheet of paper, and then what they really put into the work, but also the work in making sure that we are protecting the environment. And that's the coolest thing that I've ever seen, is that once you see the work done, and then also how do we make sure that while we are providing this work, doing the right thing, that we're making sure that we're taking care of our environment as well.
Okay, back to the education. So y'all have clearly have a big emphasis on education and on literacy.
Yes.
What are y'all doing in Memphis right now to support that?
Oh, glad you asked. Several ways. I've talked a number of ways of how we support our local community. And the one thing about I love this role is it's good. It's really good because, a lot of times when you're supporting an event, you have your brand on there, and everyone gets to see your name. As you say, we see your name and logo everywhere. Yes, we love to do that. But the first thing when we start meeting with community partners is, how can we be embedded into your programming? What does your education programs look like? And so that's where we really lean more into, is educational programs within organizations. We also work with the University of Memphis, right?
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. And that is the College of Memphis, right? We have a bunch of great colleges here. So not trying to take away from those schools, but when you think of the University of Memphis, that's the school you think of when you're thinking of Memphis.
Memphis is in the name.
Memphis is in the name. And we also support Redbirds. But when we started working with them, they quickly jumped on to say, okay, how can we also support students? Students that, what I loved about University of Memphis is having a conversation of, how can we get students in this city that in other opportunities may not have an ability to see a collegiate football game. We are a D1 school, with a great new coach, and we have a phenomenal basketball coach. Sometimes some of the students have not had an opportunity to even be inside of the FedEx Forum. So working with them to get students to have the ability, and let's not sleep on our Grizzlies, right? Never. So we support the Grizzlies Read to Achieve program. And in November, we were in that forum with 8,000 students.
Wow.
Yelling about reading. Okay. And so, and they were given, I believe, 3 books. So they also had the ability to not only go in and scream and get excited by the hype crew and the Grizz girls. And I mean, Grizz, he had to come out and show out. And so, and then we were at our adoptive school, and the Grizz came out, and we just hosted a program there a couple weeks ago, and getting kids excited about education. And so that's the work that we do. And not only do we do that locally, but we do that globally. All of our communities that we are in, that is one of our main goals, is how do we get connected with the education system that is embedded into that community. And we find very, very good and cool ways to do that.
Powerful.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, and that's where creating a thriving city
absolutely
comes from. I mean, it starts with that early education all the way up into post-secondary to trade school, whatever your next step is.
Absolutely.
That's where you get the bread and butter for the future of a city. So I heard that y'all have something coming up.
Oh, yeah. I love the teaser. Go for it, Taylor. I'm excited.
What
to
is it?
talk
Tell me
about it.
all about it.
Yeah. So you've heard me speak about Reading is Fundamental. That's one of our national programs that we are very closely connected to. And we started supporting Reading is Fundamental in 2022 with this partnership. And this year is their 60th anniversary.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
Reading is Fundamental, they've been around for 60 years and nationally leading the charge. They are one of the leading organizations for literacy. And so we partner with them, which are Books for Ownership. They come every year and they go across the nation to all of the areas that we are embedded in. And we give each student 3 books. But through that, here in Memphis, lately we've been inviting an author to read their books to the students.
Oh, that's
and it's
fun.
Such an engaging experience. And then we had the Spirit Squad at the University of Memphis come in and hype up the students. And, they get a kick out of that. And then, Pouncer comes in.
I was going to say, if Pouncer's there, they're sold.
Pouncer, they were sold. I mean, I think after that, they forgot about everybody else because Pouncer came in and really gave them an experience. And then the author read the book, and it's very interactive. And so when you show kids that reading can be fun, can be entertaining, it can be exciting, then they want more of that. So with this, we are partnering with the 60th anniversary of Reading is Fundamental. It's the Books Across the Country initiative. We are one of the leading sponsors for that. And so by us being the leading sponsor, we committed to doing a little bit more so that we could have books across the country. And what I'm excited about is, guess where it's starting?
Where?
I'm glad you asked. Memphis, Tennessee.
No way.
Yes, this national organization, we just partnered with us, and we are kicking this off May 2nd at the Benjamin L. Hooks Central Library during their Book Stock Festival. So, I mean, I already talk about connecting with something that's already in the community where a lot of families are already a part of on May 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. I hope everyone comes out and experiences it. But we are merging Books Across the Country initiative with Bookstock Festival starting here. We're kicking it off here in Memphis, Tennessee on May 2nd, and we are so excited. And we're going across the country with that. We're just not stopping in Memphis. We're going to Chicago. We're going to Boston. So it's not just here in Memphis, but we definitely had to start it here in Memphis.
Ooh, I love seeing a Memphis-based initiative start to spread to those other cities.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. And so you said May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Benjamin L. Hooks Library.
Yes.
What time?
It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And for all ages?
All ages and all kids. I don't care if you're a kid that's 25 or 60 or 2. It is all ages. Everyone is invited to come out and enjoy. I guarantee you it's going to be something for everyone. Bring the kids, bring the family. Come out. I believe there's going to be a ton of opportunities. And I was told by the Benjamin L. Hooks Central Library staff that there's going to be over 90 authors there on site. I can't give away everything that's going to happen because you're going to have to come out and enjoy it.
Of course.
But yes, we are the proud leading sponsor of the Reading is Fundamental 60th Anniversary Books Across the Country initiative. And we're kicking that off right here, partnering with the Benjamin L. Hooks Central Library Book Stock Festival, May 2nd. We are so excited. And that's what community is about. It's not working in silos. It's connecting, partnering, synergizing this effort, and making it one large impact.
That is so fun. And I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm a reader.
Yeah.
So I enjoy hearing about new book-related, literacy-related events and activities. I'm a little jealous already that there are going to be 90 authors.
Yeah, that's what I'm told. And I'm hoping that I am not misspeaking, but I'm told it's going to be over 90 authors and kid authors. Kid authors. Yeah.
So exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're almost out of time. But I know, time has flown by.
I know.
I do have one question for you.
Absolutely.
Why do you choose Memphis?
I'll post a rhetorical question. Why not Memphis? Why not Memphis? I mean, we talked about this, right? Memphis, to me, it's that friend, it's that mother, it's that father, it's that grandparent, it's everything that I think a person needs to experience life. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about the community, the culture. I experienced a health situation, and if I was in any other city, I wouldn't experience the community support that I experienced when I was in this city. And so when I tell you that my family is not only my mom, my dad, my husband, my kids, it is the city of Memphis. And once you are ingrained in this city, you really take the opportunity to get to know the city, get to know the people of the city. I've never seen another city, and possibly I can be jaded, but I've never seen another city that can really wrap around one person when they are in need. No matter what we think we see or hear in the media from a negative standpoint about this city, when you look at what we build in this city, the people that come out of this city, when you talk about the Penny Hardaways, when you talk about the music that have come out of this city, I'm not just talking about sports and music, but when you look at all of the great people that were native Memphian, that are even now coming out of Memphis, that are being a part of the city that raised them, you find greatness in those people. And so I may be a little jaded, but when you talk about a chamber that's nationally recognized
That we are.
the number one chamber, am I not right?
No, you're 100% right.
Okay. So when you talk about all of I'll also talk about the community leaders, the activism that happens here. When you talk about the organizations, we have the top leading pediatric cancer research facility in the world right here in Memphis. You talk about being the transportation hub of the world right here in Memphis. Everything comes through Memphis. We are the heartbeat, not just of the country, of the world. When you think about train, you think about road, you think about water, you think about airway. Memphis has a lot to offer. And that's why I just posed that rhetorical question of why not Memphis? There's so many great opportunities here in the city. And I challenge people, it's okay, go experience the world. I challenge everyone to do that. But I was just talking to a young lady who stated she was coming to Memphis by way of maybe 3 to 5 years, and she's been here 15 years. She said, what is that vacuum effect? And I said, it is that good old city, Memphis. And
that it is.
That's why I choose Memphis.
Nikki, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing with us.
Me.
We are so excited for this event and for the kickoff here in Memphis.
May 2nd. Yes.
Thanks just for coming on and sharing with us.
Absolutely. Have me anytime. Let me know if you need a co-partner. I love this podcast thing.
For sure.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Talk Chamber. We are so glad you're here with us. Today, Neki shared with us all about the work that Sylvamo is doing to give back to the community and be responsible corporate partners. If you enjoyed this episode or learned a valuable piece of information, subscribe to The Talk Chamber to keep up with the latest on the Chamber, economic development, and all things Memphis. Follow us on social media at Memphis Chamber, and we'll see you next time.